I'm Evan Campbell with Indestructible Art, and I'm here with Adam and John. We're at Indiecade 2012 at the Night Games. You guys just had an awesome demonstration of your game, Renga. Can you tell us a little bit about your game and what's, if somebody was to stumble upon this madness of these people playing your game, like, how would you describe what's going on to them? Like, you know, what are kind of the mechanics of the game?
Well, I'm not going to go into mechanics. I think John is going to do that. Overall, it's about bringing people together. It's about making connections between people in a real place. Yeah.
All right. And can you tell us exactly what's going on screen? You know, we see all these people with laser pointers and, you know, they're doing different things and voting on different things. Can you explain that a little bit, what's happening, like the phases of the game and that sort of thing?
Sure. So, yeah, there's quite a lot to explain there. So there's the kind of hardware side of things, which is we have a pile of tech, which is just behind us now, and we're about to shut it down. But that can track the screen. We have a camera on the screen. We have a load of computer vision software that can actually turn those points of laser light into dots that we can then use to manipulate the game. And we track normally about 100 pointers, and the audience are voting on different phases of the game. So what you saw on the screen looks really like a kind of retro arcade game, but controlled by 100 people simultaneously. And some parts of the game, like, people are voting on different aspects. Sometimes they're controlling their different part of the game. But generally there's a lot of things happening in parallel, and the audience are constantly swapping between different things.
How many people did you guys have playing tonight?
Tonight we did about, we gave out 70 or so laser pointers, and that's in relation to the screen size. So we recently did a screening at the Canadian Film Festival in Toronto,
the Toronto International.
For 250 people, where they shared laser pointers and they were passed around a bit more. We weren't brave enough to do that tonight.
But it was an interesting crowd tonight for us, quite very unusual for us, because it wasn't just the 70 players, it was also a lot of other people around them, like surrounding behind them, right, higher than the audience generally, getting into it as well, more than has ever happened before.
Yeah, it definitely turned it into more like a spectator sport as well as a participatory sport. There was, like, you know, two groups, and they were just as noisy, weren't they? The crowd behind.
You can definitely hear people shouting for what they think was the best thing to do. Can you talk about the kind of the theme of the game, the story, what's kind of happening?
Sure. Well, the game does kind of have a story in the sense that it's feature length, it's over an hour long, it has a dramatic arc to it, a 3-act structure like a film.
Okay.
However, it doesn't have a story in the sense that if it's about anything, it's really about the audience. And there are no on-screen characters as such. There's the only character, if you like, in the game is the voice, the narrator.
Right, yes.
And the real character is the crowd, in my opinion.
And so it seemed like you're constructing a spaceship, or is that, do you guys just refer to it as a ship, or?
Yes, yeah. So we call it a ship, and every single show we do, it's a unique thing that the audience has constructed. It's almost like a bit like a Lego kit that the audience uses, and as they progress through the game, they gradually build the ship that the hive mind wants to build, and then they take that forward to the end boss.
And by hive mind, you kind of mean like the audience deciding what?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an emergent thing. It's not like a lot of people often say to us, you should divide us into teams, or you should tell, you know, appoint leaders or whatever. That's not our intention.
That's not how this is going to go, right? Yeah. You want to see kind of some organization come from all the different chaos that's out there. Yeah. And you could see people, like, definitely trying to shoot for goals, and then there's people just up there, like, waving their laser pointer everywhere and trying to maybe trying to troll a little bit, like people are trying to vote for one way, but they're switching back and forth.
Exactly. Everybody makes their own contribution, even if that's to try and derail the game or to not engage with the game. The overall pattern is some kind of emergent collective action.
So how does the building of the ship actually work? How do the players do that part?
Sure. So there are kind of two phases to the game, like you're suggesting. One is to defend the ship, and the other is to then use your resources you've collected to build it further. And what you do is you spend your resources to kind of expand the ship. And the ship is built out of kind of grid pieces, and it happens kind of turn-based, that the audience then votes on how to expand the ship. So they would place maybe 20 to 30 pieces every one of these turns, and they might have 4 or 5 turns depending on how many resources they collected. So once they've done that, they've kind of expanded their ship to collect engines or silos or more harvesters.
And how does the actual building part happen? Like, how do the players decide where those pieces go? They just move the laser pointer, and then it kind of builds there?
There's the whole game alternates between lots of sub-phases, and the build process itself has really, I guess, two main phases, which is zooming out and zooming in of this overview. So during the zoomed out sub-phase of building, the whole crowd is considering where to zoom in.
Right.
And that often leads to discord and disagreements. And then after zooming in, they would then work together to build wherever they are, which is awesome. That's one of the things I most like about the game, that alternation between discord and harmony, back and forth.
Is that kind of where the inspiration for Renga comes from? What were you guys thinking about before you kind of had the game built out?
Yeah, so I mean, we built a number of kind of very short games to kind of test its technology. The technology was built about a year or so ago, and we built lots of different things and put those in front of people to try and get an idea for what worked and what didn't. We built Renga specifically for a games festival back in the UK called Game City. We knew we had a month to build it. We knew it was going to be 100 players, and it was going to be a kind of headline game like it was tonight. And then we kind of looked at different games to influence it. And what's quite funny is that the games that we chose that influenced it, we haven't really followed very closely. But the main game is Ramparts, which I guess Adam can talk about a bit more.
Yeah, so it's a classic arcade cabinet from the late 80s, I guess, that was trackball based. Primarily two-player versus game, but it also had a single-player versus the computer mode, which was the mode I got into, actually in emulation, not originally.
I see.
But the whole game alternated between building and defending the thing you were building, and back and forth and back and forth. And so you just have this kind of two different mental states that you kind of get into and have to alternate between in the single-player game of Ramparts. So we've sort of taken that single player and made it the audience.
Right on. Well, I think you guys had a kind of a hit on your hands. Everybody seemed really excited about your game.
Thank you.
And we really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
No worries.
Yeah, so thank you so much, John, Adam. Have a great rest of the Indiecade.
Thank you.
Have a safe trip home.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Thank you.